So it looked like Caitlin Clark is about to return to the basketball court sooner than expected. I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark is about to be on a team with Angel Reese. Yes, she's about to be on a basketball team with Angel Reese. Team USA is about to kick off training camp. Caitlin Clark is making her mark. She's definitely playing in this.
Caitlin Clark just walked into Team USA's December training camp, and A'ja Wilson is watching from home. This is the moment A'ja has been dreading for months, because this is not just another practice, not just another photo op in a different jersey. This camp is where USA Basketball quietly chooses who will lead them into the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. And Caitlin Clark is in the building. A'ja Wilson is not.
Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, and Juju Watkins will be among the 10 players making their USA Basketball Senior National Team Camp debuts next month when the storied basketball program hosts a training camp at Duke University from December 12th to December 14th.
For years, A'ja has been sold as the face of women's basketball, champion, MVP, the safe, established star the league could build around. But somewhere along the way, the game picks somebody else.
To fall soon. I mean, I don't know how much access we'll actually have to this, but Team USA announced the official invites for the training camp they'll be having in December, and Caitlin Clark amongst them, as is her teammate Aaliyah Boston. So those teammates get to team up for Team USA, which makes a lot of sense. And I've said for a while, I think that the next version of the USA Olympic team could be a bit of a dream team, given you'll have the players that came up in this explosive era of basketball, along with the remaining veterans who are still in their prime, and it will be this recognizable roster, of course, headlined by Caitlin Clark, who rather famously didn't make the team in 2024.
And tonight, that choice could not be more obvious. Inside Duke's gym, you've got Sue Bird, Kara Lawson, and a room full of WNBA and college coaches watching the future of Team USA run up and down the floor. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Juju Watkins, Paige Buchers, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, all sharing the same court, all auditioning for the same golden era.
When it is, we are going to see Caitlin Clark back on a basketball court with other participants. This is going to be rather interesting because we are going to see Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers all playing together. Now, we talked about the fact that Team USA, I believe it is in March, is going to play, I believe, in some qualifiers. That's probably when we're going to get to see Caitlin Clark play actual meaningful basketball again. But training camp is coming. The senior camp is coming. And it's coming in like 2 weeks.
The cameras are pointed at one person. Everywhere Caitlin goes, ratings follow, crowds sell out, and tickets jump. She isn't just another guard fighting for a roster spot. She is the most powerful engine in women's sports right now.
A'ja Wilson started this whole thing, which is complete BS and nonsense. This should never be a conversation, and it wouldn't be a conversation. We would just be talking about how great and entertaining we think Caitlin Clark is. We just be talking about how dominant A'ja Wilson is. We just be talking about how nice Paige Beckers is. But no, A'ja Wilson started this. Don't forget that.
But if you're A'ja Wilson, that reality has been getting harder and harder to ignore. Think about the last year. Caitlin signs a massive shoe deal and instantly becomes the face of the brand. Her merch sells out in minutes. Clips of her unboxing her own shoe go viral. Her logo is everywhere. Suddenly, social media starts pushing another narrative. What about A'ja? Why doesn't she have this? Why is Clark getting everything? Instead of letting Caitlin's moment breathe, the timeline turns into a comparison war. Every award Clark wins, every record she breaks, every cover she lands, the same energy pops up around A'ja. She shares quotes about being patient. What is delayed is not denied. On the surface, it sounds positive. Underneath, it feels like a public reminder that she still thinks the spotlight should eventually land back on her. Meanwhile, Caitlin just keeps hooping. Rookie season, triple doubles, logo threes, road crowds treating fever games like playoff events. When she speaks, she never attacks other players. She credits veterans, praises teammates, and keeps the focus on the growth of the game. That contrast matters, because when USA Basketball invites Caitlin Clark to senior camp, they're not just rewarding stats. They are signaling what kind of star they want, leading them into a home Olympics. Somebody who can run the offense, somebody who can sell out arenas on every continent, and somebody who understands that when the spotlight hits, you use it to grow the sport, not to keep score on social media. Imagine being Asia right now. You're a champion. You've won everything there is to win domestically. You've been told for years that this is your era. But when the most important camp of the next decade tips off, you're not in the gym. You're on your phone, staring at photos of a player 5 years younger than you, wearing the jersey you always thought you'd own without question. You see Caitlin in Team USA gear, laughing with Aaliyah Boston. You see videos of her hitting deep threes in front of coaches you thought already knew who you were. You see the comment sections. This is her team now. Build Team USA around Clark. And no matter how many times you tell yourself it's just one camp, it doesn't feel like just one camp. It feels like the sport has quietly moved on without you. That's the real meltdown. Not some screaming rant, not flipping tables or calling people out by name. The meltdown is the sinking feeling that for the first time in your career, the future doesn't revolve around you. It revolves around the player you and your fans spent months trying to minimize. So what happens next? For Caitlin, this is the start of a new chapter. If she clicks with Boston, if she proves she can run the American offense on the international stage, she's not just a WNBA star anymore. She becomes the face of global basketball, World Cups, home soil Olympics, commercials, documentaries, and kids around the world wearing her number because they saw her do something insane in red, white, and blue. For Asia, there are only two paths. She can keep leaning into the comparisons, the cryptic posts, the unspoken resentment, or she can finally accept what's already true. Caitlin Clark is not the enemy. She is the expansion pack. She brings more money, more attention, more respect to a game that never had enough of it. The question is whether Asia wants to fight that tide or surf it. Because this much is clear. Team USA just told the world who they believe the next decade belongs to. And if that hurts, maybe that's the part that needs to change. Do you think Asia Wilson is just jealous of Caitlin Clark? Or does she have a point about how the spotlight is being handed out? Let me know in the comments. And if you're still watching, drop Team Clark down below so I know who made it to the end.
As for what Engelbert is alleged to have said to Collier, if she actually suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for what she makes off the court, that's preposterous. Did you miss the Iowa years? Clark is the Tiger Woods tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa. The WNBA has benefited from her presence more than the other way around, even though this year for Caitlin Clark was essentially lost to injury.
200,000 WNBA fans just did something the league never thought they would do. They stopped cheering, stopped buying, and lined up behind one message, loud and clear. If the league will not respect its own players and its own audience, the fans will walk away.
For breaking news, hot off the press, look like Caitlin Clark might be forced to not sign a CBA agreement and forced to participate in the 2026 WNBA lockout. Now, guys, I have to be honest, man. I'm hearing some things in the background with this whole CBA thing, and it's looking like, I just hate that I gotta say this, bro. It's about to be a lockout.
This is the story of how the WNBA's most passionate supporters turned their love into a full-scale revolt, and why those 200,000 signatures might change the league forever. It did not start with a boycott. It started with a feeling. For months, fans watched Caitlin Clark get knocked to the floor, targeted by hard fouls, and then blamed when she reacted. They saw the league use her face to sell out arenas, but stay quiet when she was getting hammered on the court. Every game, the tension built a little more. Then came the off-court drama. reports started to leak that league leadership was not happy about players doing outside events, especially when Caitlyn's golf appearances began pulling huge crowds and headlines.
Honestly, just got so triggered by Caitlin Clark's golf debut, and it is no fault of hers that I got upset. It is the fault of the WNBA, because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day.
Suddenly, you had stories about warnings, about focus on the WNBA, about players being told what they could and could not do with their own time. For a lot of fans, that was the breaking point. It felt like the league wanted all of Caitlyn's value, but none of Caitlyn's freedom. It felt like the same old double standard. When other stars branch out, it is great for the game. When Caitlyn does it, suddenly it is a distraction. The frustration started online, like it always does. One fan posted a simple idea. If they bench Caitlyn, we bench the WNBA. Boycott 2026. It was not a slick campaign. It was not run by a brand. It was a basic pledge page and a hashtag. But within hours, the numbers began to climb. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. Clips of hard fouls and icy press conferences were stitched together with that same message. Why should fans keep paying for a product that treats its biggest draw like a problem instead of a partner?
The WNBA, a league which has existed for about 25 years, maybe a little bit more than that, I think about 30 years now, if I'm not mistaken, which has never turned a profit, which nobody was paying any attention to until the last year or so when they brought in Caitlin Clark, and they basically have been kicking the crap out of this girl. Why don't we start with the game this week that really just caught the top of everybody's mind? Take a look.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye there.
Ooh, and Marina Mabry. I missed that one, Idona.
Oh, I missed that one too.
Stephen A. Smith went on and was discussing just all the craziness around Caitlin Clark, and he kind of, I think, got it right.
By the time the counter clicked past 200,000, this was not just a rant, it was a movement. What shocked the league was who was signing. It was not only the loud accounts you see fighting on social media every day. It was families who had gone to games for years, parents who had driven their kids to tournaments, grandparents who had watched women's basketball since before there was a WNBA logo on the floor. They were all saying the same thing. We love the players. We do not trust the people running this. Behind closed doors, it became impossible to ignore. Sponsors began quietly asking questions. Is this real? Are we going to be associated with a boycott? Season ticket holders called and said they were evaluating options. Some corporate partners froze activations until they saw how the league would respond. Inside league headquarters, the mood flipped from confident to desperate overnight. Executives who had spent the last 2 years telling everyone that everything was fine now had to explain why hundreds of thousands of their own customers were organizing against them. The same data they used to brag about growth was now proof that those customers could walk out together. At the center of all of this sat the players. Imagine being Caitlyn, opening your phone and seeing a live counter of people promising to abandon the league you just joined. It is flattering because it shows how much they care about you. It is terrifying because you know what a boycott can do to everyone around you. She is not alone. Her teammates, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, and others have all felt the pressure. They know that without fans, there is no TV deal, no sold-out arenas, no pay rises for the next generation. But that is exactly why this revolt matters. The fans are not attacking the players. They are protecting them. They are saying, we are done begging you to treat these women properly. If you will not listen to polite criticism, maybe you will listen to empty seats and cancel direct debits. It puts the WNBA in the most uncomfortable position it has been in for years. On one side, the commissioner and league office, who want to keep control and avoid looking weak. On the other side, the players and the fans, who are finally united in one simple demand: respect. Respect the stars who built this moment. Respect their right to build brands, to play golf, to do commercials, to have their own lives. Respect the people paying money to show up, who can clearly see when something is off. 200,000 signatures are not just a number, they are leverage. If even a fraction of those fans follow through, that is millions of dollars in ticket sales, merch, and TV value gone. The league knows it. The players know it. The sponsors definitely know it. So where does this go next? Either the WNBA listens, owns its mistakes, and starts working with its biggest star and her fan base. Or it doubles down, pretends the revolt is just online noise, and risks losing the very people who dragged the league into the spotlight in the first place. Here is the truth. You cannot market yourself as a modern league built on passion and progress while treating your most influential player like a problem to be managed. You cannot celebrate sold-out arenas one week and ignore the voices that filled them the next. At some point, you have to choose: control or connection, short-term power or long-term growth. The fans have made their choice. They are ready to walk away to prove their point. The only real question now is whether the WNBA is brave enough to admit it needs them more than they need the WNBA. If you think the fans are right to demand massive change, hit like on this video so more people see it. Subscribe if you want the full story every time the league tries to play games off the court. And if you are still watching, drop Revolt 2026 in the comments, so I know you are one of the fans who refuses to stay quiet.
So today, lads, we are going to be talking about this article. It's like the most powerful women in sports, America's most powerful women in sports. But if you guys don't know, Caitlin Clark is listed at number 4 here. I'm glad they said America, because a lot of the time you see like these lists just being American people.
Forbes just changed everything. They did not put Caitlin Clark on a cute little list. They crowned her the most powerful female athlete on planet Earth. Number 4 on their entire sports power ranking, but the top ranked athlete.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark flexing her muscles when it comes to being one of the most powerful women in all of sports. And I think this is an interesting list that Forbes put out. There are 2 WNBA players on here. By the way, for all the unrivaled, it's not a conflict of interest, folks.
And that is when A'ja Wilson started to lose it. This is not just about a magazine list. This is about money, power, and who really runs women's sports in 2025. By the end of this video, you will understand why Caitlin was crowned number 1 and why A'ja's reaction might be a huge mistake. Let's start with the part the old guard does not want to talk about. Caitlin did not just have a good rookie season. She broke the system. On paper, her WNBA salary looks like any other rookie, around $60,000 to $70,000. But once you zoom out, the real number hits you in the face.
But if you guys don't know, Caitlin Clark is listed at number 4 here. And the reason why I'm telling you guys Caitlin Clark, it says here, her estimate 8.1 million income for a rookie season. She probably made double that. And that might be conservative. Saying she made double that might actually be conservative.
$8.1 million in a single year. That is Forbes running the math. Salary, endorsements, appearance fees. One season of basketball turned into new wealth, and that is before she even hits her prime. The engine behind that number is simple. Brands know she moves people. Nike locked her into an 8-year, $28 million deal. Before her first pro tip-off, she had already secured more guaranteed money from one brand than many players will see in an entire career.
And by the way, as we look at this list, brand president Nike, CEO of FanDuel, and of course Gail Benson, who we just talked about, This is showing you what I have been saying. It confirms what I have been saying. Caitlin Clark is the most powerful woman in not just basketball, but women's sports, all of women's sports.
Then Gatorade stepped in. This is the same company that built campaigns around LeBron James and Serena Williams. They do not hand out deals to be nice. They invest in athletes who can move product and shift culture. Putting Caitlin in that tier sent a clear message. In the eyes of global brands, she is not just another good player. She is the face of the next era. Wilson Sporting Goods made it even louder. They did not just sign her. They made her the face of their basketball line, the first athlete to get that treatment since Michael Jordan. Every time a kid walks into a store and sees her name on a ball, that is brand power you cannot fake. But the endorsements are only half the story. Whenever Clark plays, numbers explode. TV ratings jump. Games that would have drawn a few 100,000 viewers suddenly clear over 1 million. Arenas that used to be half empty are sold out. And it is not just the league making money. Local bars, restaurants, car parks, merch stands, all feel it. Cities hosting her games see spikes on game day. Caitlin is not just filling a box score, she is moving cash across communities. So when Forbes says most powerful, that is what they are measuring. Earnings, influence, eyeballs, economic impact. Now here is where the story gets messy, because A'ja Wilson did not take that news well. Nobody is denying A'ja's greatness. Multiple championships, MVPs, a Hall of Fame legacy. She has done everything you can do on the court. But power in 2025 is not just trophies. It is attention. It is how many people stop what they are doing when your name shows up on screen. And that is where the gap between these two players is massive. The cracks started to show as soon as Caitlin's Nike deal hit the internet. While fans were celebrating this win for women's basketball, A'ja's posts suddenly shifted. More talk about paying dues, more reminders about real impact and sustained excellence. On the surface, it looked harmless. Lined up with the timeline, it looks like something else. Then came the shoe talk. Right as Caitlin's brand exploded, A'ja started pushing content about her own signature shoe harder than ever. Constant reminders, throwbacks, close-ups. It felt less like normal promotion and more like a veteran trying to prove she still deserved to be treated as the face of the league. When Time magazine named Caitlin Athlete of the Year, the pattern continued. A'ja's congratulations was technically there. A short post, a quick story, but the energy was nothing like the long, emotional messages she gives to other players. Fans noticed it. It felt cold. It felt forced. And then Forbes dropped the hammer. Caitlin crowned the most powerful female athlete. A'ja pushed down to number 15. Everything that had been simmering in the background boiled over. Instead of saying, "This is good for all of us," A'ja doubled down on the same talking points. More shade about hype. More quotes about how real greatness takes time. More energy spent on controlling the narrative than celebrating the fact that someone finally blew the ceiling off what any of them can earn. That is not competitive fire. That is ego. And here is the truth the league does not want to say out loud. You do not get to decide who the face of the sport is. The audience does. The numbers do. The brands do. When millions of new fans show up for one player, when networks change their schedules around her, when sponsors pour millions behind her, that is not an opinion. That is reality. Caitlin Clark did not steal anything from A'ja Wilson. She unlocked a level of attention and money women's basketball has never seen. Everyone in the league benefits from that. Bigger TV deals, higher contract ceilings, more kids watching, more respect from other sports. If veterans choose jealousy over growth, they are only hurting themselves. So when you hear about A'ja Wilson losing it over Caitlin being crowned number 1, understand what is really going on. This is not about a list. It is about who is ready to embrace the future and who is terrified of being left behind by it. Caitlin is not just the #1 female athlete on a Forbes ranking. She is the test of whether women's basketball can finally get out of its own way. If you are still watching, drop Team Clark in the comments so I know you made it to the end.